thing that's most important about it is that the oldest Dormition manuscript is Old Syriac, and that's the 5th century, lower script of a 5th century, lower 5th century script of a palimpsest. And it's nearly complete, and it's very long. And but there's the second thing is that there's a really deep manuscript tradition of the Syriac text, so you can compare this oldest Dormition narrative to subsequent ones in the same tradition, which are every one of them is shorter by a significant degree. So you can actually line them up and look at what different scribes cut out, or what they redacted, and you don't find that very often.
So you said this is the earliest physical copy. Is it the earliest necessarily version of the text that we have available to us?
Well, I would argue there's a correlation. In my argument, the longer narratives about women in particular are actually the oldest. Later scribes redacted various parts of these narratives. Mm-hmm. So in this case, yes, I believe it's the oldest.
And that is
the other ones, if you start with the other manuscripts, I think the Greek is the oldest Greek is 8th century, for example. So, and it's not 6 books, but it's exceedingly truncated.
Right. And the argument about the palimpsests that I've seen you talk about before is you have the option about whether some texts have removed material or some manuscripts have added material. And your argument is that material has been removed rather than added to form the text that you
line them up side by side, the palimpsest, say the 6th century Old Syriac, and then another Old Syriac, or maybe a translation into the Ethiopic one that Stephen Shoemaker privileges. You can see where if you go to certain passages, you can see where one scribe took out that part and another scribe took out that part, but they both have this and this and that. And there's really no way to imagine that, some woman scribe in a female monastery, put these later manuscripts together and put Humpty Dumpty together back to this even earlier manuscript. So, it's pretty clear that what's happening is the scribes are truncating. And I think this is just, women's liturgical authority, which you do see in this very old script of the palimpsest, is not something that was actually appreciated later. So scribes began to cut it out. There's a correlation with that historically as well.